Good morning. This is Trish Willliams with Trish Willliams team, Keller Williams Realty, Las Vegas, Nevada. And this morning I'm here with John McFarlane with Imperial Pest Solutions. And we're going to be talking about scorpions. Scorpions and real estate. So two fun subjects. So just to start a little bit of background, where I met John, or how I met John, was I'm a realtor, but we also buy houses for ourselves. So I was buying myself a home. I found my dream home. I was in love with it, had everything I wanted. And then during escrow, couple walkthroughs, I seen some little critters, scorpions. And I was born and raised in Vegas. I've been here my whole life, never came face to face with one until then. And I never really realized that, I knew they existed, I knew they were around, but it was until you see one in the home that you're about to be living in that you start panicking, or at least I did.
Right.
And days and days and days of research and Googling and online and trying to solve my problem. I seen a lot of things that said that you cannot get rid of scorpions, which panicked me. And I came to the conclusion that I was going to have to make a choice. Like, do I really want this house? Do I want to move forward with this? Because I don't know if I can handle living with critters. So it was really scary. And then I came across a Facebook page called Las Vegas Bark Scorpions.
Bark Scorpion Group, yeah.
Bark Scorpion Group, Googling. Of course, I ran into this page, and I seen a lot of people on the page that, said that John McFarlane has been able to help rid them of their scorpion problem. And I immediately reached out to him because I needed help. So before moving into the house, before we actually closed and moved in, John came and met me at my home. And at nighttime, it was dark out, and John came and did a scorpion hunt of the yard of the home, and was able to tell me that yes, there was a problem, and assure me that we can take care of it. So with that said,
we found a bunch too, right? I think we found like 8 or 9 of them.
Yeah, we found a lot. Oh my gosh, it was so scary.
It certainly can be. It certainly is scary. Especially if you've never encountered that problem before and you don't know what it's like to get stung or anything like that.
Yeah. I still don't know what it's like to be stung. I don't ever want to know what that's like. No, I do not want to know that. So John, how did you get into this? What made you start being I always call you the scorpion expert. Like whenever anybody talks to me, I'm like,
that's good.
John's a scorpion expert. You gotta call him.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I worked for another company for about 6 years or so, and they taught me everything that I know about scorpions.
Okay.
And I really kind of became interested in that, and because I started to make a little niche for myself. Right. With that company. And it was interesting to me. I felt like I understood it well enough to be able to help people's problems. The problem with that particular instance was that company didn't provide the resources or assets available to be able to actually fix a problem. Right. Most pest control companies out here are taught to spray. You go to the customer's house, you spray, and then you take off. Right. Right.
And I kind of feel like that's what they want, because they want you to have to keep on calling them. Right.
Right. There's just so many more things that you can do besides spraying that will speed up the process of getting rid of scorpions. Right. In a quicker timeline. So that basically is how I got started into that. I was interested in it, and I thought that I could help. I created my own company. I said, I'm going to specialize in scorpion exclusion and scorpion treatments, and then provide those services that the other companies don't. Right. Well, a lot of them don't. There might be another 2 or 3 other companies in Las Vegas that do what I do. Right. But there's literally 500 pest control companies in Las Vegas. So, 2 or 3 of us out here doing exclusion work. Right. That's a lot of work for us.
I've called a lot of pest control companies, and you think, like, you're like, okay, I'm not doing this at home. I'm not going to go to Home Depot and get a bottle of Raid. Like, I'm going to call the actual, professionals. So I did that. And they just blatantly told me over the phone, like, nope, can't get rid of them. I'm like, what? No, you can't help me. Why don't you help me?
Yeah.
So that, you know, that's kind of crazy. So I was, again, very thankful that you were able to help. And I haven't had any problems. So I haven't seen any critters in my house. I sleep well at night knowing that I'm not having to worry about everything. I have hunted the inside of my house just for proof with the black light, just to make sure they're not lurking somewhere. But no, have not found any. And there were a few that I seen during escrow inside the home. So I feel very secure. What kind of scorpions do we have in Vegas? I know in my particular home it was bark scorpions were the problem, but are there others?
Yeah, there's two others in Las Vegas. You have the striped scorpion, which a lot of people get confused with the bark scorpion.
Okay.
They look very similar, except their back is a little bit darker and does have stripes across its back. The bark scorpion is all beige, tan color.
Okay.
But there are striped scorpions, and people confuse them all the time because, you know, that's what all the craze is, right? We have bark scorpions in Las Vegas,
right?
So everyone wants to think it's a bark scorpion. Honestly, most of the time it's either a bark scorpion or it's a striped scorpion.
Okay.
We do also have the desert hairy scorpion.
Huge.
Which,
if you
come across that, like it's a really cool looking scorpion.
I don't know if I see it.
They're meaty. They're big, you know, 4 or 5 inches, you know, long. And they're meaty. They look like just regular scorpions, but they're on steroids. They're huge and meaty.
Oh God, please never.
So those are out here too. You don't really come across those too often. Every once in a while, but predominantly you'll either see the striped scorpion or the bark scorpions.
Okay, is there any that are more poisonous than others?
So yeah, so the bark scorpion is the most poisonous scorpion in all of North America.
Wow.
Yeah, and they aren't native to Las Vegas. We brought them here. They're the Arizona bark scorpion. You know, when we started building master planned communities in the 90s, you know, like Green Valley and Summerlin and
those beautiful palm trees.
Those beautiful palm trees.
Those beautiful palm trees. Oh,
Yeah.
and I love them, but yeah, that's awful.
That started the problem. We started importing those, and you know, our problem began. So, but yeah, to answer your question, yeah, there's those 3 different types.
Okay, and then have you ever been stung? How dangerous is a sting?
Oh, it's super dangerous. I've been stung.
Okay.
More times than I could tell you.
Really?
Oh yeah. Because I do so many inspections for people, and a lot of time I'm up against a wall and I don't see a scorpion. You know, it's behind me or whatever, or it's come down over the wall or whatever, and it comes against me, or I'm picking it up and it stings me through, you know, my glove that I wear.
Yeah, he's picking up scorpions. When he did the hunt at my house, he was picking up scorpions with a rubber, like, dish glove. And I was like, don't you think you should have, like, a metal? I know, a big coat of armor. Like, I don't know. But yeah, that's a little...
Yeah, so either on my hand or somewhere on my arm, it'll come and get me. But, yeah, a lot of times I've been stung. That comes with the territory.
Okay, like, I mean, how severe? Like, do you have to go to the emergency room?
You can.
Okay.
You know, it can be a really painful experience. It becomes more painful as you get stung. Like, it's not like a bee sting where if you get stung throughout the years by a bee, it's like less and less have an effect on you. With a scorpion, it becomes increasingly more painful.
Wow.
So yeah, so with children and adults, you always hear like the children in the older community, those people especially, because they just have a weakened immune system.
Mm-hmm.
Those are serious problems if you have a baby or an elderly family person, anybody like that has a compromised immune system. That's like an immediate trip to the emergency room for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Dangerous little critters. So, where are scorpions? Are they only in the outskirts of Vegas, or are they like everywhere? Where are these guys?
So they're everywhere. You know, I'm like you. I'm a native to Las Vegas as well. Born and raised here. It used to be where, you know, you'd have pockets all across the valley of these places have scorpions, so be careful. Or you go out to the desert somewhere, right? And you can go find scorpions easy enough.
Right.
Nowadays, that's completely flip-flopped. to where you just kind of have pockets around the valley that don't have scorpions, and everybody else does. It's becoming a mess. I mean, we're literally turning into Phoenix as far as scorpions go. I mean, Phoenix is littered with scorpions. So
really?
Oh yeah. So it's pretty much the same thing here. It's becoming bad.
No, is it because they reproduce so fast? Like, I mean, don't they? You told me something about this, and I forget what it was. I tried to forget it, but. They can, like, when scorpion has a litter of like 50 or something.
They can up to that many. They're a lot. You know, they're not like spiders where they lay eggs and you got 200 eggs in a little ball. They're live births. They climb on top of the mother's back and just hang out there until they have their first molt, and then they fall off, and then off they go on their own. Mm-hmm. The problem really is that I believe. I mean, I don't have any research or market data or anything.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that, you go and you buy a new house in Summerlin, right? Brand new, there's no problems, you walk in, you move there, and within a few years, all of a sudden you're seeing scorpions more and more, and then they're everywhere, right? Over the course of 4 or 5 years, you have them everywhere, right?
Right.
And you say, you know what, I've had enough of these scorpions, I'm moving over here, wherever over here is, I'm moving down the street. And you go and you buy this whole new house in a completely different area of town. You go to the north side, right? You go somewhere north.
Yeah.
And you buy a house, you pack up all your stuff, and you move.
You take them right along with you.
And you pack up your scorpions with you because
yes.
you have stuff in your garage.
Yeah.
You have stuff, that just happens to have scorpions in it, on it, around it, whatever. And you end up packing up your scorpions and you move them to your new house that currently doesn't have scorpions, and you introduce them to this nice neighborhood, and all of a sudden, now this neighborhood has scorpions over the next couple of years.
Right. So the only solution is to burn the house down and all your belongings.
Right. Yeah. Just start fresh.
We don't want to do that.
Yeah, but I really think that's how that's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, there really isn't too much of a reason besides that I can think of outside of you're just packing up and moving. I've talked to so many people that they've just become so frustrated. I can't get rid of them. They're everywhere. I see them every day. And they just move. And it's, they can't find, and that's sad, but they just can't find a fast enough solution to fix the problem.
I spoke with somebody this morning, another real estate agent in my office that says that he recently had a seller that sold their home because of scorpions.
Yeah.
Because of scorpions. They just said, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
So the good news is there is a solution. Call John, because I was able to purchase my home, and I'm telling you, I would freak out, and I have no problem. So,
yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do as a homeowner. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of pest control companies are just taught to come out and spray and take off. But if you really are interested in fixing your problem, we as pest control providers, we need the homeowner's help.
Of course, being proactive. Now, that is one thing that we've learned. Because I know our home is protected, our walls are protected, we're sealed, we're, all of the things to be proactive in the home.
Right.
I feel very good, confident with our home. And then you did that special, we'll talk about that in a minute, the powder in the walls, I don't know, the magic powder, but that worked, right? Yeah. All of those, we had all these things done. Our home is very well protected. There is no way I can somehow protect unless I have, people standing on top of the walls like Walking Dead, Alexandria, But there's no way I can protect and stop these scorpions from coming over my brick wall into my yard. So one of the things that my son does is, once a week, he goes once a week, but lately, activity has been like almost zero. But he goes out, once a week, he'll go out with a black light, he hunts my backyard, he thinks it's fun. He takes the bug assault rifle, the fly gun. Have you ever seen those? It's like a fly gun. It shoots salt at flies.
Oh, okay.
But the yard and garden version works very well on scorpions.
Fantastic.
He is literally hunting scorpions out with his little gun. And he loves it. He thinks it's great. And if he doesn't find them in our house, he goes down to the park, because we can always guarantee there'll be some there. But he goes out and he checks our yard. So the only time that we have seen any activity has been coming over that wall, which again, we can't, there's something we could do about that,
right.
But we've definitely minimized it and can minimize it through sealing and through other things that we'll talk about.
Yeah, Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do outside, and you know, hunting, that's good to hunt. You know, picking them off just one by one seems tedious and kind of monotonous for an adult. I mean, I guess.
And you have a 15-year-old.
I guess you sometimes enjoy that, but a lot of people don't want to go out there and hunt. People are afraid of scorpions. They're going to jump on them and attack them and eat them alive. And, you know.
Yeah.
But it can be kind of tedious work just doing that. You know, even once a week. Who wants to go out there at 10 o'clock at night and go hunt scorpions? You know, but it is helpful. You start reducing the population around the house, and that's always good.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure, I feel like it's really helped too. And then, of course, so there is, we said it already a few times, there is a way to get rid of scorpions.
Yeah.
And then, so let's talk about sealing. I mentioned that sealing, you know, I know that we talked a lot about it. You gave me, you know, great information about what that means and what, I was under the impression, just from Google, that scorpions lived in the attic and they're always on your ceilings and they're going to drop down on your bed at night. You know, that's what everybody says, right?
Right.
Not true.
Not true. Scorpions can be in your attic. Living there is highly improbable. It's too hot. You know, right now it's 105 outside. It's probably 130 in your attic. It's too hot. They might pass through. They might be there temporarily. But living there isn't. It's not. It's just not the place that they want to be.
Right.
But you know, like you mentioned, them falling out from the ceiling and whatever. I mean, that does happen.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. A lot of times, people will complain about getting stung in their bed.
I've heard that a lot. I've seen that on Google. Google.
That happens, and it happens a lot of time on their feet. You know, they're down there. You got stung on my feet. I got stung on my leg. You know, how did this happen? A lot of times you have a vent above your bed, an air vent.
Right.
They literally fell down through your air vent. Well, how did it get into my air vent? Well, it's not actually in the ductwork of the air vent. When the builder cuts the hole in the drywall for the ductwork to sit in, there's gaps.
Around there, yes.
Right.
And we've seen that. When we pulled out all the lights, all the air vents, there's gaps around everything. It was like, no wonder.
Right.
That's how every bug gets in, I assume.
It really is. Air vents and recessed lighting is about probably 70% of the time how they're coming inside of the house.
Okay. So what do you do to prevent that?
So seal up those gaps. The best thing for you to do is to seal up the gaps around the air vent. So don't seal your air vent, right? I mean, you need air in your house.
And you don't want to caulk everything in, because if you do, and you have to change light bulb, you're going to be like, why did I do this?
Right.
So do it, you take it out, you do it actually where the drywall meets that, behind the actual cover.
Right. Yeah,
right.
You take the grate off, and then if you see any gaps along that, where that drywall is cut, that's where you want to seal up.
Correct.
And then the recessed lighting as well. Anyone with recessed lighting should seal up those lights as well. And like you said, it's not around the light bulb area per se. It's more around the rim of the can, right? It's the fixture that's actually onto the ceiling.
Right.
A lot of those are loose over time. You know, unless you have a brand new house with recessed lighting and that's all tied on there, those are generally okay. But you know, if you've had them for any amount of time, they can get loose. Right. And those gaps, a scorpion only needs about a 32nd of an inch to squeeze through.
That's about as big as a credit card.
About the width of a credit card.
Yeah.
So anything as small as that or bigger, you want to seal up. If you do that, if you seal up your recessed lighting and your air vents, you'll stop a good portion of scorpion sightings inside of your house. Not all of them. Yes, you will still get scorpions inside every once in a while, but by and large, you'll stop a good portion of them being inside of your house. Fixing up any kind of weather stripping around your doors, your windows, anything like that, where you can see light coming through a door. Right. You'll want to fix that.
And what about baseboard? The bottom of baseboard, where especially if you have tile and you have baseboard because you used to have carpet, and then there's that gap.
Right.
Another thing, right?
Anywhere where a scorpion can be, right? I mean, when you start looking over your house and really looking at it with a different pair of eyes, right? Looking at it kind of differently, not just this is my house, this is where I live. Look at it like you would be a scorpion. Like, where's a good place for me to hang out and hide? Scorpions don't move, right? So with your baseboard question, scorpions, they don't move. They'll literally sit and stay put for months at a time. They don't move. They'll literally just sit there. So if you got a gap in your baseboard where it's big enough for a scorpion to just slide inside and sit there for as long as it wants to, it's going to do that. Huh. You know, areas like area rugs, giant rugs that you have in your house, scorpions want to be underneath that. They like to feel the pressure on their body. Scorpions have a lot of eyes. They have 4 pairs of eyes. They have 8 eyes. But they don't see all that well. They're essentially blind. So to feel safe, they want to feel pressure on their body. They want to be up next to something, underneath something. I'm getting off topic, but yeah, sealing up, as far as your baseboards go, if you see a gap on your baseboards, you're going to want to seal that up somehow. Silicone is what I generally use to do some sealings. I find that works just fine. You just want to seal up that gap. However you want to do that.
Now, is this something you do?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't generally do the ceilings for baseboards, but lights and vents for sure.
Okay.
And I'm happy to point out areas where you might want to look at sealing. If you have pipes in your laundry room where you have water hoses coming out,
yeah,
or anywhere where it's just too big of a gap. Look inside, look outside. Your water pipes coming into the house, if they're, sometimes that doesn't just go right in. Sometimes it's a giant hole, right?
Yeah.
And you got this pipe just sitting there, and anything can wander through that hole. So looking inside and outside of your house for any kinds of holes and gaps is extremely helpful.
Right.
Yeah, but no, I absolutely do the ceilings of recessed lights and air vents.
Okay, great. And then what about, well, let's talk about the special magic powder you put in my walls. I don't know what it is.
It's not so much magic. It's a dust. It's a pesticide that we put inside of the framing of the house to clean out whatever's living and breeding inside the framing of the walls.
Okay. Now, when you did this in my particular home,
yeah.
Again, I had not moved in the home yet. John came out, took care of things, made it to where I felt comfortable living in there. So moving in, and he put these, the stuff in my walls, and he took out the outlets, he put it in the walls, and he told me when he left that day I was going to see some activity because everything that was inside the walls was trying to come out, and I sure did. So that was true. So I know that it works.
Yeah. Bugs don't like that stuff.
Okay.
They will do, especially scorpions, they will do whatever they can to get away from that. And so, yes, every once in a while you can see activity inside of your home after that treatment is done.
Okay.
Most of the time the bugs will just die right inside of the wall.
Right.
And you won't know that they were ever even there.
Right.
A lot of people ask me too, well, it smells, my house is going to smell if there's bugs living in the wall.
No.
Your house won't smell.
Yeah, no smell whatsoever. Didn't notice it. It's inside the wall, safe for pets, because they're not, they're not going to be around it. So yeah, definitely. And again, I'm sure in my case the house was vacant, so I definitely probably seen more than the average person would. What about Pest Borders? Pest Borders is something that you do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Pest Borders is a glass barrier that runs around the whole outside of the house.
Okay.
Scorpions can't climb glass, and so we've partnered with a company called Pest Borders who's based in Phoenix. I come out and I'll take the measurements of the house. It's drawn up specifically for your house. But yeah, it's a glass frame that runs around the bottom part of your home. Scorpions and other bugs come in through the weep holes underneath the house. A lot of people don't know what that is. There's small ventilation holes that run all the way around the whole outside of the house.
Right, and when I read that, I went out and immediately looked under to make sure that was true, and absolutely, it is true. Yeah. Every house has them.
Every house has them. They're about every 3 inches or so, 3 or 4 inches, and they run all the way around the whole outside of the house. Your house has to be able to breathe. If your house doesn't breathe, you end up getting mold and mildew inside the wall.
And that's no good.
And that is no good. But scorpions and other bugs are attracted to that moisture that's escaping.
Yeah.
When your air conditioner is on, when your heater's on in the wintertime, you have that moisture that's coming out through those vents. And a scorpion will be attracted to that. Other bugs are attracted to that, and they'll wander right up through those ventilation holes, and all of a sudden it's in your wall. And then once it's inside your wall, it's going to do whatever it's going to do. I mean, for a scorpion, it's dark, it's the right temperature, right? It's a constant temperature all the time. It's a perfect place for them to live and breed. So, and then once it's inside your wall, it makes its way through the recessed lights or the air vents, and then all of a sudden it's in the living area of the house. So Pest Borders is designed to stop scorpions from being able to climb up that part of your house to get into those ventilation holes.
Okay.
Like I said, scorpions can't climb glass, so they have a hard time. They'll just kind of feel around, and they just keep doing that until there's finally a place for them to grab a hold of, and then they can climb. But since the whole house is wrapped in glass, you're not going to have that problem with scorpions coming inside.
So you can literally live in a glass house.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can live in a glass house.
To a point. Okay, so and then final question that I have for you is, how do you hunt scorpions? We talked a little bit about it, and what do you do? What's the best way? How's that work?
I don't know if there's a best way to do it. I mean, I've just kind of, over the years, I've kind of developed my own way that I want to hunt. I know the places that they're going to be, right? Under rocks, under any kind of shrubbery or bushes that are low to the ground. On the trees, right? They're bark scorpions. They want to be on trees.
They love palm trees.
They love palm trees. But you know, I start at one end of the house and work my way all the way around, so I don't miss anything.
And what do you hunt them with?
With a black light. Go get yourself a black light.
And what do they look like under the black light?
So they fluoresce. Scorpions are unique in that fact that they fluoresce under black light. So they're a greenish, bluish color under black light.
And it's bright. I mean,
it is bright.
When I heard about it, read about it, everything, the black light thing, and I was thinking like, oh, they might just pop out a little bit, but wow, it's like
you can't miss
you
it.
Cannot miss it. You cannot miss it. It is bright.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, you want to look in, like I said earlier, you want to kind of think like a scorpion, right? Where's the best place for them to hide? Of those places that I mentioned a second ago to kind of look under rocks and bushes and trees and things like that, in your cinder block wall, that's where they're going to be.
Those raised garden beds?
Oh yeah, any kind of planter block is the same as a cinder block wall, because there's a gap, right? I mean, if you go out and you scorpion hunt, you're looking around with your black light, you'll see those things just popping out through the gaps where the blocks butt up next to each other, right? Right in those little gaps. They'll poke their head out and look and crawl around, and then they'll duck into another one and go back inside the wall.
And you can seal those gaps, right?
Yes, you can.
And what happens when you seal those gaps?
So you're basically stopping them from being able to do that anymore, right? You're forcing them to be either on your neighbor's wall or to have to come up and over. And they will do that. I mean, like you mentioned before, they're going to do that anyway. But the good news is that if you're going out and you're catching, 10 a night, right? You'll cut that number in in about half.
Yeah.
So if you go from 10 to 5, I mean, that's the right way to go, right? You're decreasing your population around the house.
Yeah.
And doing anything is better than doing nothing, right? Sealing your wall is not going to fix the problem, but it will deter it. It will cut the numbers down. Those 5 scorpions that would have been in your backyard aren't going to be. That means that's less of a chance for one of them to be inside of your house.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Planter block. If you haven't put planter block in your backyard yet, rethink it. Trish.
It's pretty.
It is pretty. And go ahead and do it, but just make sure that you get them sealed
So I went and put more in after he told me that. He's like, what are you doing?
It's fine. It really is fine. As long as you're going to seal the gaps on the planter block, it really is fine, because they're trapped in there with the dirt and the soil that you put inside.
Right.
It really isn't too much of a problem at that point. But just leaving them unsealed is like a scorpion hotel in there. I mean, they will literally breed you scorpions until you and I are both gone.
Right. Right, yeah, and that is it's a high activity spot.
It really is. It really is. I mean, they have water out there, they have shelter out there, they have millions of other bugs to eat.
Right.
Scorpions are cannibalistic, so they'll eat themselves. If there's no other bugs floating around, they'll go and they'll pick a fight with another scorpion, and somebody's going to eat somebody else. So that's just how that works.
Awful. Why do we have them? Okay. So, John, after all this, someone decides, hey, John's the man, and really, if you need scorpion help, call this guy. Like, he is a 100% believer. So how do people reach you?
So you can call at 702-509-1204. Please reach out to me on Facebook. That's always fine.
And your Facebook group is called?
It's the Las Vegas Park Scorpion Group.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the admin for that. So if you guys want to hop on there, and you know what, there's a lot of good information on there. There's you know, just regular people that are just looking for information like you were. There's also a bunch of technicians that deal with scorpions all the time. So a lot of good information on that group. And
videos of live hunts.
Yeah, that's a good place to find information. But yeah, if you want information from me, 702-509-1204. I'm happy to talk to anybody who has a problem.
All right, and your company once again?
It's Imperial Pest Solutions.
Imperial Pest Solutions. And do you have a website?
I don't, but you can email me. It's just imperialpestsolutions@gmail.com.
Okay, sounds very easy. All right, well, thank you. And again, this is Trish Willliams, Trish Willliams team, Keller Williams Realty, Marketplace One. And thank you for tuning in to Keeping It Real with Trish Williams. And next week, coming up, we're going to be doing a show on how to buy a fixer-upper in Las Vegas. So I hope you guys come back. Okay, thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Trish.
You're welcome.